All right, so we're doing section views, and I'm drawing this object. Now, here I have the front view, and I only did my object lines because I didn't change the layers. Not a big deal. I want to use this video to show you how you can change that. I've been doing it repeatedly, can't hurt to check. To make my side view, I'm going to unhide this construction line layer. As you're doing your drawings, it's great to use construction lines because you can just hide them at the end and they won't be seen. So let's get to it. I have my correct layer selected, and using my line tool, I can make sure I type in those dimensions that I need here. Went straight down. Let's see, 16 minus 9, it's 7, but it's half, so 3.5 is the length. Great. Let's just go this way with a length of 4. Go straight down, diameter of 9. I'm just going to stay true to that. Make sure my angle is at 0, 4, and then this is 3.5 again. Great, and we can close off the object. Looks good. Now I'm going to use a little trick. All right, I guess I could start by making center lines. So here I'm going to make a center line. Good. Get that line tool, make a center line here. Get my line tool, make a center line here. Great. Now I'm going to get my object line layer, and I'm going to offset these. That's going to make life a lot easier. 1. I'll change the layer later. Offset tool. Here, I'm offsetting to a distance of, we have 2. So let's go, I suppose I never finished this. Let's get that line tool and finish this the way it should have been finished. 1, it's going to go down to here and connect. And I'm feeling lazy, so I'm going to mirror this, this, and this. Here's my mirror line. Boom. So now I got it perfectly copied. I can get rid of my construction lines. Yay! Okay. Now, I always forget that last command. Mirror. Click and drag. Select all the things. Great. First. Second. No, do not erase source objects. And now let's continue where we were. We were offsetting here by 1. And here by 1. Okay. Now, let's switch our layers. So first thing you got to do is select, got to get out of your tools. So now you're going to select the layers that you want to manipulate, the lines you want to change the layers of. So these, I'm going to change these to layer 0. Great. And while I'm at it, I'm going to do this one here because it matches with this section. It's a hidden line here. So I'm going to just select the object, layer, hidden. Now, let's see. My scale looks good. You may need to play with your scale if it doesn't have a nice dotted line like this. Let's see. Let's be a little fancier. Nope. By layer, and the layer is center. All right, so I would have to manipulate my center line line type scale. But let's get to today's business, the section view itself. So to do this, we go to the draw, and we're going to use a hatch. Now we have to change properties. I'm going to do user defined. I'm going to say a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to specify a tight spacing. 1/4, 0.25 is good. You could probably go a little bit higher, but I do not want a double hatch. Great. Now I'm going to select all the areas. So I click, click, and click. All of these are now selected. It even gives me a preview. Once I have everything the way I want it, and I have all my parts selected, I'm just going to confirm. And I have now produced a hatch that is going to represent any of the cut material. We're not fully there. We need to specify a cutting plane. So to do that, we are going to set ourselves up with a cutting plane layer. I used a red line. Usually you have a solid line and then 1, 2 dashes, but the online version doesn't have that. So instead, we are just going to make a very obvious cutting plane. So I wonder, let's see, cutting plane, line type. Is there a line? No, there's no weight. You can't do the weight. All right. So for this cutting plane, I'm just going to create a big old red line over the entire thing. It is showing up here. It's just got that green line also messing with it. So I have my full red line. It's just not showing well. Now, the tool we use for the arrows, usually you use a polyline or a pline, but the online version doesn't work as nicely. So instead, we're going to cheat with an M leader. Now, the thing is, your leader lines may not look as nice as mine. You may have leader lines that end up looking like this. That's not right. I don't see an arrow at all. And if you go to standard, you have a line that looks like this with a teeny, teeny little baby arrow like that. That's no good. So what you need to do is play around with the M leader style. I ended up liking 3. It's a little large for what I'm going for, but I mean, ideally I'd want like a 1 or 2, but it only goes quarter, half, and then 3. Don't ask me why, but that's what they're doing here. So to do this, we're going to hover our mouse to give a snap point, and we are going to draw the arrow until we can see it. Now, this is going to be a kind of funny looking arrow, a little bit larger than we'd like, but it gets the message across clearly. Section lines should be very obvious. You don't want them to think it's an object line. So I would recommend just using big old arrows to attract their attention. And then, very simply done, you're going to copy this arrow, confirm, base point is there. I'm going to snap it right onto that. And then I'm going to move my original arrow. So it's like this. Yeah, it looks a little wonky, but it gets the point across. It's very clear. So I would prefer extra large arrows than arrows that are not large enough. Now you can attempt to play with the arrow itself, but if I shrink it too much, the arrowhead goes away. You want to show that arrow. Okay, so we have our section view. We have our section lines, the cutting plane. At this point, I would just address any of my line types that are not correct so it can be printed.